Back on the nation at 5, and even as we speak, there is a declared state of emergency in Sri Lanka. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has fled Sri Lanka. He landed in Malé late the wee hours, and now we're given to understand he's going to take a late-night flight. He landed in a military aircraft, and he's now going from Maldives to Singapore, which has agreed to offer him asylum. He has then appointed Ranil Wickremesinghe as the acting president. These developments have upset the Sri Lankan people because this is not what the Sri Lankan people wanted. As a result, there was a reaction. The protesters stormed the Prime Minister's house, Ranil Wickremesinghe's house, and they have now occupied his house too. So the President's house occupied by the people, Prime Minister's house occupied by the people, Ranil Wickremesinghe asking the army to control the situation. Police had to fire tear gas shells to control those who are getting overtly aggressive among the Sri Lankan people who have been largely very, very peaceful as the protesters. And the Aragalaya now very clearly have demanded that as they get out even the parliament, that you have to go. Any of the ruling disposition members are not acceptable. Ranil Wickremesinghe not acceptable. The speaker, after making multiple announcements, also called for an emergency meeting, all-party meeting. And that meeting is happening as we speak at around 5 p.m. Sri Lanka time is what was said. Let's go across to Purnima Murli, who's done a sterling job along with our VJ there on ground, getting us all the live pictures for our viewers, getting us all the updates. Purnima, what's happening right now in Sri Lanka? Have the protesters gone back, or are they still occupying the Prime Minister's residence? Is the all-party meeting on? What are we expecting?
Well, Prime Minister's office is now open for the public. Protesters have occupied Prime Minister's office as well. But this is a golf-face where protests continue for the 96th straight day. And this is where protesters have come back. While, remember, the Presidential Palace, the Presidential Secretariat, which is right on our screen, and the temple trees have already been occupied by protesters since Saturday. Today they occupied the Prime Minister's office, making it clear that not just Gotabaya Rajapaksa, but also Prime Minister, who's now the acting president, should also step down. So as per procedure, the Parliament should convene on the 15th of July, and then on the 20th of July, they plan to have a vote to elect the new president. Till then, in fact, Ranil will be the interim president. However, the opposition parties here do not have majority unless they get the support from a few parliamentarians who belong to the ruling party. They don't have enough support. So all eyes on how things are going to pan out, because many protesters here say that if Ranil continues to be the acting president, in all probability, that is something that Rajapaksa had planned. But also let's get in some views. You know, you want the resignation of both of Ranil Wickremesinghe.
Yes.
Why do you think he should also step down?
They have led the country to the worst economic crisis in the history. Now we have nothing to do here in our country. All these people, they are asking for the government and the administration to resign. They are not resigning.
Do you think Ranil is seen as someone who's protecting the Rajapaksas?
Yeah, he is the main dealer of Rajapaksas. He is the main defense of Rajapaksas. All the time he defends Rajapaksas. From the previous government itself, he defends Rajapaksas.
Who do you think should become the president of Sri Lanka to ensure that Sri Lanka bounces back to normalcy?
None of these parliamentarians. But at the moment, until election, we have to elect someone. But to elect someone, first of all, they have to resign. These people are asking Rajapaksas and Ranil to resign. If they resign, all of these people will go home. All our first intention is Rajapaksas and the Ranil Wickremesinghe. Now, he's the acting president in Sri Lanka. He has to resign now.
Do you think that will happen?
Still, we can't imagine even.
To the Sri Lankan people,
the
Chief of Sri Lanka Defence Staff is addressing a press conference. Are you tracking it? Are they tracking it? And what is the expectation from the armed forces? Can you ask them? Purnima, if you can hear me, I know there is a lot of noise in the background. But as we speak, the Chief of Defence Staff, Shavendra Silva, is addressing a press conference with all the service chiefs with him, flanking him. Are the Sri Lankan people listening, and what is it that he's asking of the people, or what is he committing?
that they're not monitoring. In fact, the defense chief is addressing the media. Any idea on what they plan to say? Are we monitoring it?
If the defense chief want to make the peace in this country, even he must understand the administration has to resign now. That's the only way to make the country peaceful and stable. That's the only way. I don't know anything beyond that.
Well, what we are given to understand, Purnima, if you can hear me, what we have got as an update is that he has, along with the heads of armed forces, requested the Speaker of the Parliament to call for a all party leaders meeting and resolve the current political turmoil. So that meeting is happening right now. What is the expectation from that meeting?
Well, as per constitution, when the president of Sri Lanka resigns, then Prime Minister will be appointed as the interim president till Parliament convenes and elects one of the parliamentarians for the top post. So that's as per procedure. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe last week, when opposition parties did not want him to continue being the Prime Minister, he said that he in fact offered to resign, saying that let the opposition parties form an all-party government. Till then, I'll stay. After that, I will step down. So an all-party meeting is significant because that's where the names of contenders for the top post will come up, will then be discussed, and then they'll see if they could form an interim government if Sajid Premadasa and other parties here have the support of the remaining parliamentarians. So that is crucial because here the protesters say that they will continue to protest till an all-party government is formed without the influence of Rajapakshas, without having anyone in the top post who are associated with Rajapakshas, which is why the defense chief also now saying that an all-party meeting will be crucial, considering that Ranil Wickremesinghe has said that an emergency will be declared if protests continue, because protesters stormed the Prime Minister's office, and after that, when he took over as the interim president, he's also said that emergency could be declared if things turn violent. So you can see protests only snowballing here at the Golf Face, and protesters say that there should be an interim government and both president and Prime Minister should resign. Ranil should not continue as the acting president. Till then, protests here is only going to continue, is what protesters say. Back to you.
Well, Purnima, try and see if you can get some more of the protesters to speak on what the Chief of Defence Staff, Shavendra Silva, has now come out and said. He has said that he urges the Speaker of the Parliament, Sri Lankan Parliament, to apprise the people of Sri Lanka of the decision taken out of the meeting at the earliest. He has also requested the people to cooperate with the tri-forces and not vandalize or resort to looting and arson and damage public and private property, and keep the protest peaceful, saying that the people have to cooperate and maintain peace till a final decision is arrived at. But he's also urged the Speaker to decide soon. He's asked the leaders of all the parties to speak and decide amongst themselves and decide soon. Conclusion of the meeting must be made aware. The people of Sri Lanka must be made aware towards the decision taken in this meeting. That's what it is. So it is like one by one, it is being asked clearly of the party leaders to take a decision at the earliest, and these people have to go. Now, Sajid Premadasa has just tweeted. He has stated that an MP with one seat has been appointed as PM. Now the same person is appointed as acting president. This is the Rajapaksa style of democracy. What a farce and what a tragedy. And that's another reason that they want Ranil Wickremesinghe to go. I have with me Dr. Arvind Tejawat, who is Arvind Singh Tejawat, who's the professor at the University of Kelaniya in Sri Lanka. Arvind ji, namaste. Can you take us through how did this build up, this Araglaya build up like this? It seems to be leaderless. It's a student, youth, youngster movement that we are seeing. And what are their primary demands, and where is the hitch?
Right. यह जो स्थिति राजकीय की वहाँ बहुत ही खतरनाक स्थिति है
जी,
जल्दी कंट्रोल नहीं किया गया तो हालत बहुत अच्छा हो सकते हैं. And actually now, leader of the opposition and some other people who are involved in current situations, they should understand. They shall understand that now they should think beyond the politics, और उनकी यह सोचने की जरूरत है कि अभी उन्हें देश के बारे में सोचना होगा, क्योंकि अगर अभी हिंसा जितना रूप नहीं ले रही है अगर उस हिंसा ने खतरनाक रूप ले लिया तो उसे कंट्रोल करना बहुत मुश्किल होगा। उसके साथ साथ हमें यह भी देखना होगा कि वह मैं यह कहना होगा कि हम इस तरह से इस पूरे जो आर्थिक पेश कर रहे हैं और उन जनता से एक संवाद स्थापित करना पड़ेगा।
जी पर अरविंद जी एक बात बताइए, अभी वहां ग्राउंड पर परिस्थिति कितनी गंभीर है? यहाँ पर तो भीड़ जमा है जहां गोल फेस और प्रेसिडेंशियल सेक्रेटेरिएट है, पर रेस्ट ऑफ कोलंबो और फिर अगर श्रीलंका बाकी अन्य क्षेत्रों की बात करें, प्रोविंसेस की बात करें, तो वहां क्या सूरत हाल है ग्राउंड पर? कितनी किल्लत है फूड की, फ्यूल की, पानी की?
वहाँ जो श्रीलंका में कुछ दोस्तों से बात हो रही है उससे लग रहा है कि स्थितियां तो बहुत ज्यादा बेहतर नहीं हैं और लोग बहुत जबरदस्त तरीके से परेशान हो रहे हैं जिसकी उन्हें आदत नहीं है। और जब आप उनके एक जो चलती हुई जिंदगी में जब खलल पैदा होता है तो निश्चित रूप से लोग सड़कों पे आएंगे और वह प्रोटेस्ट भी करेंगे, वह सरकार के खिलाफ और सरकार से वो प्रश्न करेंगे जो कि मूलतः उनका हक है, तो वो करेंगे। तो स्थिति तो बहुत ज्यादा बेहतर नहीं है, पर यह वाकई संतोष वाली बात है कि अभी तक कोई बहुत बड़ी हिंसक घटना नहीं हुई है। अभी तक लोगों का या जो है तो उसको अभी भी मौका है। मुझे लगता है कि सभी को, चाहे वो विपक्ष के नेता हो या वहाँ के और भी जो नीति नियंता हो, उन सबको साथ में बैठकर यह तय करना चाहिए कि इस स्थिति को कैसे संभाला जाए। अभी देश बड़ा होना चाहिए उनके लिए और व्यक्तिगत हितों को उन्हें एक तरफ रखना चाहिए।
अभी वहां के स्पीकर महिंदा अभयवर्धना ने 5:30 बजे ऑल पार्टी लीडर्स की मीटिंग बुलाई है, 5:30 बजे श्रीलंका टाइम। आपको लगता है आज शाम तक कोई ना कोई फैसला हो जाएगा? और प्रेशर बहुत ज्यादा है कि आज फैसला नहीं हुआ तो परिस्थिति बिगड़ सकती है। अभी तक तो लार्जली ये लोग पीसफुल रहे हैं, सारे प्रोटेस्टर्स।
यह कहना तो बेहद मुश्किल है क्योंकि यह तो मीटिंग के बाद ही पता चलेगा और निश्चित रूप से इसमें जो अलग अलग जो लोगों के इंटरेस्ट हैं वह काम करेंगे और वह उसी हिसाब से वह करेंगे। तो हो सकता है कि वह कुछ और दिन तक तुरंत कोई फैसला हो जाएगा, इसकी उम्मीद कम से कम मुझे तो बहुत कम लग रही है। हो सकता है कि इसमें कुछ और दिन लगे और तब तक हम यही उम्मीद या आशा कर सकते हैं कि स्थिति और ज्यादा ना बिगड़े, क्योंकि अराजकता किसी भी समाज या किसी भी देश के लिए कोई बहुत अच्छी चीज नहीं हो सकती।
जी Dr. Arvind Singh ji, thank you very much for speaking with us. I'm just going to quickly see if we have Purnima with us again and try and get one final update with her as to is there an expectation of a resolution and a decision in favor of what the protesters are demanding, and will this situation be resolved whether before it further snowballs? Because with each passing day, ladies and gentlemen, the access to basics, ration, food supplies, medical supplies, fuel, water is going to get critical. And it's not just Colombo, but it's going to be pan Sri Lanka. And that could trigger a civil war. The angst that the people are showing against the ruling disposition could turn towards open loot and vandalism on the streets and an open civil war, which is a situation that the nation just does not want to face. And clearly, the Tri-Forces would also want to avoid at this point. But why is Ranil Wickremesinghe continuing to hang on? Is there merit in what Sajith Premadasa has just tweeted, where he says one party with one MP is now the acting president? And how is that democracy, and is that not a farce? And should the Rajapaksas let go? How is it that they can be fully yanked off? Is there a decision likely this evening? Purnima is with us. Purnima, 5:30 p.m. Sri Lanka time is when the speaker has called for this meeting. Will everybody attend? Purnima, if you can hear me, will all the parties attend this all-party meeting called by the speaker? Because earlier the opposition has alleged that even the speaker has to go because he is also of the ruling disposition.
Well, we'll have to see if all the parties attend, because the opposition parties here are not happy with the way things have panned out. While everyone was waiting for that historic announcement that Gotabaya Rajapaksa is going to resign, he's made it very clear that in his absence, it is going to be Ranil Wickremesinghe as the acting president. And as per the constitution, if it's not Ranil, then it has to be the speaker. Sajid Premadasa, who aspires to get the top post, who aspires to be the president of the country, has very little support of the other parties, and he does not have the numbers also, which is why they are now not really hoping for better things to happen. And also the fact that protests are only snowballing because they want Ranil Wickremesinghe to resign, and they are not happy with the way things are panning out, especially the opposition parties and protesters here. Sajid Premadasa also now saying that if the speaker is also someone who's closely associated with Rajapaksas, therefore we'll have to wait and see if Sajid sends his party members to attend. But it's going to be very significant because they will then decide what next, what the future holds for Sri Lanka. Therefore, all-party meeting is the need of the hour, which is why Defence Chief has also made it very clear. But whether the opposition parties will attend in the next few minutes, there will be more clarity. Sajid Premadasa are not too confident of a positive note for himself in this particular scenario.
Right, thank you for your inputs, Purnima, and to your Vijay traveling with you at this point. Stay safe and continue to get us the coverage that you have from ground for all our viewers here at CNN News 18. We're going to take a very short break here on The Nation at 5. Stay with us.